Dragon Ball Z is the quintessential shonen anime of the 90s, and captured the world's attention with awesome fights, unique characters, and Akira Toriyama's iconic art style. I've never gotten into it, and I'm not going to talk about Dragon Ball Z. Sorry, not sorry, it wasn't on Hulu. But I have seen the first saga of the original Dragon Ball a long time ago, and I remembered it to be pretty goofy, pretty fun. And to my enjoyment, Dragon Ball is on Hulu, so I figured what the hell, let's dive back into it and see if it holds up to what I remember. Welcome back everybody to the Anime Dropout, a series where I become a little more cultured. Motherfuckers! Now specifically, the first 13 episodes are called the Emperor Pilaf Saga, and it's grouped around introducing our central character Goku and his friends going on wacky adventures and collecting Dragon Balls. I haven't jumped into the sagas past this, but don't you worry, cause I'm gonna watch those too, up to and including the final episode, unless Hulu tosses them. Then I might be hosed.
On the last episode of Dragon Ball.
Dragon Ball has a simple premise with goofy, zany characters and a bizarro version of our world. Our hero Goku is a young boy living by himself, living his best life catching fish and training. It's a pretty solid way to spend life, but then a girl in a car shows up. Goku's world is turned upside down and he's spirited away on a journey to find the Dragon Balls, mystical orbs that grant wishes to whomever collects all 7. Problem is, everyone in his party wants to wish upon a star, and yeah, that's not how this works. Along the way, he meets new friends, learns more about the world, and kicks a few people's asses. It's like The Hobbit in that way, without Bilbo putting the hurt on people. I don't think the plot has a lot of depth to talk about. It's fun and whimsical. While it feels episodic, it has serialization, so the main story is progressing with each mini-adventure. The Dragon Balls are stolen, and the party gets to Pilaf's castle. Once our heroes reach the castle, they face off with Pilaf, but he gets the better of him, and he acquires the last Dragon Ball. He uses the Dragon Balls, but Oolong saves the day before Goku goes a little apeshit. Heroes live to see another day, and the villains are foiled. It's genuinely funny, innocent, and overall a fun adventure. Wait, is it innocent? The show is surprisingly dirty. In a day and age of complicated bullshit, it's nice to have a straightforward, fun, and lighthearted adventure to lose yourself into. I do like how each character gets some growth over the course of the first saga. Goku learns more about the world, and he's our viewpoint into this world. Bulma and Yamcha discover that they have their wishes right in front of them. Both are looking for partners, and Yamcha is able to speak around Bulma without getting freaked out. Oolong is a cowardly pig, but plucks up the courage when his friends need him the most. And I guess Puar's is... Actually, I don't know what Puar's arc or growth is. I don't even know if Puar is a boy or a girl. It's very misleading.
My poor master!
Like the show refers to Puar as a female, but Akira Toriyama mentioned that he thinks Puar is a male when he writes him. Puar is a bit of a mystery character. It's a pretty well-rounded cast that not knowing too much about Puar, it doesn't really add or take away from the story. And I do like the small touch of Puar having been in the same shape-shifting school as Oolong. I'm surprised they're able to get away with some of the choices they made when making the show, let alone not having it cancelled. What am I speaking of, do you ask? Yet everyone except Goku is either love-obsessed or a pervert. Oh right.
I think people are perverts.
This should be a fun conversation. Let's jump right in and take a look.
Can't you tell?
No, not like that, you nasty old man. Like the last 2 anime I've watched on this channel, the series came out in the 80s. And that means there was a lot more that the writers and animators could get away with today. Don't get me wrong, anime gets away with a lot today in the violence and gore section, but not so much in other areas. In my experience, anime has either been really open about sex to the point of hypersexualization, skimpy outfits anyone, or taken the awkward and embarrassed approach with the characters. And I think this falls in the middle between those two. Not hypersexualized, but not prudish either. And I did find a lot of it funny and goofy. As Goku becomes more acquainted with the world, I can't imagine it being a recurring aspect of the remaining sagas. Well, maybe with Roshi. I'm going to start with our hero Goku, because honestly, I'm the most surprised with him. The other characters I can understand. And with Goku, I understand, but the things he does, shoo-wee! Now let's not get it wrong. The kid's been sheltered his whole life and he doesn't know any better. But he isn't shy with nudity or tapping ladies in a way that would have put him front and center in the pervert inquisition. There are several instances of full frontal Goku nudity, and every time he meets a girl, he taps them in their private areas and joyfully cries out,
So you're a girl, aren't you?
Huh? What a randy boy.
Luckily, Bulma is there to put a stop to that behavior before Goku lands on a certain registry. Well, with middling success. Next we have Bulma, who foolishly wants to wish for the perfect boyfriend, This is her whole character motivation and one of the few things that define Bulma in this saga. Midway through, she loses her clothes and is relegated to wearing a Playboy bunny looking outfit. She's not pure and isn't above using her feminine wiles or other people in support of her goal. But the worst offenders are Oolong and Master Roshi. Oolong is a little pervert, while Master Roshi is an old pervy lech. During Oolong's first episode, he terrorizes the village with his shape-shifting abilities to capture young girls, which sounds super gross. Turns out they are living that California livin', and he can't stand it before returning them to their parents. In another episode, he transforms into a pair of panties and offers to let Bulma wear him when their transportation stops working. Master Roshi is an old lech that yearns for a woman's touch, and more, constantly blowing blood vessels in his nose when he sees something sexually attractive. And he blows quite a number of blood vessels. I'm surprised he hasn't, stroked out. Just like Bulma reining in Goku with his exploratory biology, Roshi has a companion turtle who judges and chastises the old coot when he's not acting appropriately. By the end of the first saga, he's practically seen Bulma completely naked in one way or another. There's a sequence when Bulma unknowingly flashes him with no underwear, and then does it again 2 or 3 times. Girl, you need to put it away! In another episode, he offers to put out the fire at Fire Mountain in exchange for a night walk with Bulma. You're not fooling anyone, you old pervert. Bulma goads Oolong into shape-shifting as her. First like a little squat Bulma, which is hilarious. But then once he's exactly like Bulma, he flashes her rack at Roshi just to get back at Bulma. Wow, Bulma's actually a bit exploited in this show. Luckily there's more to these characters than being sex-crazed freaks. Even though everyone is a little pervy, except Puar, they are very likable characters, and the perviness doesn't take away from their characters, nor is it the only source of humor, which keeps everything in balance. Who are these people anyways? The plot is simple enough, but it's the cast of characters that really seal the deal for this saga. I love the cast of characters we're given, each with a small bit of character development without going overboard. While each character explicitly states what they want, we learn a lot more about them through their other words and action. Actually, I'm not sure what Goku wants. I don't think he wants anything other than to train and is simply along for the ride. And for a show like this, we don't really need super deep characters. But enough development and traits to show us who they are and why we're rooting for them. Or in Pilaf's case, rooting against. Not all of the characters get growth in this first saga. Pilaf, his minions, and Puar are relatively the same throughout. Goku does learn more about the world to a small degree. Oh, in his growth change of turning into Player 1 of Rampage. And boy does he rampage Pilaf's castle. I actually think that's hilarious. Oolong saves the world with his panty wish and a small sliver of courage, but he's still selfish and a cowardly pig. While a lot of it is kind of dirty, this show had me busting out laughing on more than one occasion. Each episode keeps it light with well-executed humor, and I really like that. To keep Oolong in line, Bulma roofies him with a capsule so that he violently shits everywhere when she cries out "Piggy." It's clever and hilarious. Bulma's leg gets injured during the climax of the saga and asks Yamcha for help, and he's all,
"Nah, I'm good."
I tried watching the show in original Japanese with subtitles, and it just doesn't work for me. This is one of the very few instances where I think the dub is better than the original. The English voice cast gives so much personality to these characters. The original Japanese just can't capture the dopey sound of Shu.
Don't chop me up! I admit it, sire! I did it! I tooted! I fathered! I passed gas! Guilty as charged!
Oolong's low voice.
Get it! I put enough in his drink to knock out a horse!
The wizened Roshi.
Why you? Nobody could have ducked that in time, not even me!
Or Bulma's annoying cries of panic.
Are you crazy? Please stop doing that!
Where the fuck are we? Something I really like about the Dragon Ball universe is, well, its universe. This version of Earth is a weird, anything goes, anachronistic type of world that's full of surprises and nothing's off the table. Dinosaurs are still around. There are regular animals and talking animals, modern technology, flying clouds, mushroom forests, and little blue imp people. Hell, through part of the saga we see people dressed in Middle Eastern attire, but at the same time we see a character in Native American attire, and his daughter in spandex. It's a bit nuts, but I think it all works with the anything goes type of setting with little to no rules to the world. It's not easy to pull off, nor is it very common, but it works with the goofy tone of the show, for the first saga at least. I haven't seen the show past this, nor read the manga, so I don't know if it keeps that same silly tone throughout, but that's what I'm about to find out as I continue on in the series. Not the worst Pilaf I've ever had. Emperor Pilaf, this little blue imp midget man, is an interesting antagonist. Even though he's got a Bond villain motivation to rule the world, he has more depth than some of the party. Through the show, we see Pilaf in a huge castle, but there's only 2 henchmen and no subjects in or around his castle. He's called Emperor, but there's nothing showing of his empire. He's shown to have a Napoleon complex, riddled with insecurities and a need for adulation to feel good about himself. Yet he's completely incapable of taking any responsibility and always blaming any kind of failure on his underlings, with whom he has zero regard. It makes me wonder why Shu and Mai stay around to take Pilaf's abuse and constantly try to please him when it's impossible. I think there was a lot more that could be done with Pilaf, Shu, and Mai, but they are instead just relegated to bumbling idiots, which works for the tone, but it also makes them seem incredibly weak. They don't have much impact on the story until the last arc, where the party arrives at the castle to get the last Dragon Ball. Only then does Pilaf take on a more menacing nature, albeit still idiotic, and when it's all said and done, Pilaf and his minions just run away like little bitches. I'm curious to see how he returns to the story.
Join us again next time for another exciting episode of Dragon Ball.
In conclusion, if you're looking for a light and fun anime, give the first Saga of Dragon Ball a shot. I'm giving the Pilaf Saga an 8 out of 10. It could be higher if Pilaf and the villains were just a bit stronger, but it's funny and goofy. Something that's needed now more than ever in a world gone completely mad. This was the first saga to cement Dragon Ball's legacy as a timeless shonen anime, and I can't wait to see where the story goes from here, and if it can keep with the traits that made the first saga awesome.